Welcome to a Return to Oneness. My name is Eddie, and I help people open their hearts. Today's discussion is Learning to Master Your Triggers, Part 7. Step 5. Recognize the judgments made. In order to recognize the judgments made once you are triggered, you first have to come to understand what a judgment is. And it is also helpful to understand that the judgments you make chain you to the thought system of separation and conflict. Without these understandings, you will not see the need to relinquish judgments, nor will you see how judgments bind you not only to the past, but keep you from truly living life and living it abundantly. Most do not recognize the sheer number of judgments they make each and every hour, much less the number of judgments they make daily. It truly is a sobering amount. We judge everyone and everything, and this includes God as well. Nothing, absolutely nothing, escapes being judged by us. And we are as capable of judging those we love as we are the random stranger on the street. In most instances, we remain completely unaware that we are even levying a judgment. However, if you truly desire mastery over your triggers, you must become cognizant of every judgment you make. Does this take effort? The answer is both yes and no. First, the only effort to really be made involves the choice to recognize all of the judgments that you make. In other words, you simply must choose to become willing to identify the judgments as they enter into your conscious awareness. And second, you must come to trust that you will recognize a judgment when it arises. This becomes easier once you have experienced the peace that settles throughout the entirety of your being from having chosen to live in and from Christ consciousness. For it is but the indwelling Christ who will help you see the judgments as they are made in the present moment. It truly becomes effortless once you have experienced the taste of true freedom and true peace that naturally comes from being without conflict. As such, the feeling of being conflicted will become the sign that you have levied at least one judgment on something or someone, whether that someone is another person or yourself. Yet what is the intention that lies behind the making of a judgment? In other words, what is the energy pattern underlying a judgment? You might find it surprising that all judgments, regardless of whether it was levied against a person, a place, a thing, or an experience, have the same energy pattern. And you need look no farther than the word judgment to find the energy pattern that it produces. The word judgment carries with it the implication, the capacity for judging, where the word judge means critic. Furthermore, the intention, the energy of the word judgment is found in the origin of the word critic, which is from the Greek word kritikos and carries the meaning capable of judging. However, the Greek word arose from an earlier Greek word, and that word is kritos, which literally means to separate. Therefore, the energy pattern of judging is to separate, and to make separate is the root cause of all conflict. For all conflict arises from the belief that you are a separate being, walking in a world of other separate beings, alone and apart from everyone and everything, including God. It is the foundational belief in separation that creates every judgment made and held within your mind. For without this belief, you would clearly see the futility in passing a judgment, as well as the harm each judgment inflicts on your own state of being. The time has come to understand that passing judgments on anyone or anything, including yourself, only serves the purpose of strengthening the belief in separation. And it is this singular belief which creates the experiences that reflect back unto you that everyone and everything stands alone and apart from everyone and everything else. For without the false belief in separation, the false narrative that plays out in the minds of those who believe separation is real, then only unity and oneness could be experienced. Thus only peace and joy would be felt. Yet there is a deeper, more insidious energy pattern found within judging. And it is this energy that keeps the mind completely blanketed in darkness. What is this dark energy? It is found in the origin of the verb to judge. The word judge comes from the Latin word judicare, which arose from combining the Latin words jus, meaning right, and dicere, which carries the meaning to declare or assert oneself. Therefore, in the truest sense, judgments serve but one function, and that function is to make oneself right. Recognize that to make yourself right is to make another wrong. And it is for this reason that judging creates conflict, ultimately robbing you of your peace. When you judge another, you can but experience conflict, both in the internal as well as the external. Always remember, conflict is not about the absence of peace or the absence of Christ consciousness. It is but its denial. For when you judge anything, whether it is another person, a place, or an event, you have denied the truth of yourself, the truth of the self that abides in oneness, thus wholeness. And this creates a disturbance in your energy field, which but ripples from within you to the world around you. This disturbance within your energy field is what the universe responds to. For the universe simply recognizes the energy of the belief in separation and the need to be right, thereby creating the circumstances and the events which will witness unto you your separateness and your belief that you are right. But this insatiable need to prove yourself right means that you believe someone or something has treated you unjustly, making you a victim. And has been stated before, to believe you are a victim to anyone or anything means that someone or something must be blamed. For blame and victimhood cannot be separated any more than a wave can be separated from the ocean and still be called a wave. Just like the ocean and its waves, blame and victimhood run hand in hand. Furthermore, judgments create each of the links in the chain that binds the future to the past, thereby ensuring that the future is nothing more than just a continuation of the past. But what is in the past that causes the future to be just like it? The answer, while appearing rather inconsequential at first, is nevertheless truth. For guilt is found in the past, and with each judgment made, you but add another link in the chain of guilt. And guilt has but served to corrupt the mind into believing that it is what it is not. For guilt is the obstacle which stands between you and love, as well as between you and the joy that is but your inheritance as a child of God. However, guilt stands between you and peace, the peace only found in Christ consciousness. Guilt is the foundation for which the belief in separation arose. Without guilt, the belief that you are a separate being, separate from everyone and everything, including God, would crumble back into the dust from which it sprang. Recall, the meaning of the word judgment is to separate. However, you would not judge anyone or anything without the underlying belief in separation. Therefore, judgments are made to ensure that the belief in separation continues without any deviation on your part. As such, the guilt which created the belief in separation is thus guaranteed to never be questioned, much less examined and released. What then is the cost of maintaining the belief in guilt and separation? It is but this: you move into each new moment, each new day, believing it is new and will be different than what came before it, when it is nothing more than the past come to play itself out yet again. Until the pattern is disrupted and ultimately vanquished, you can but continue to experience the same things over and over and over yet again, all while wondering why things keep happening to you. Yes, the names of the people may change, and the circumstances may be completely different, but you still find yourself being triggered, passing judgments, believing you have been unfairly and unjustly treated, and believing you are but a victim once again. But why is this? When you are triggered and react by judging and becoming upset, you need look no farther than the ego, the false identity of the separated self. For it is but the symbol of guilt hidden deeply within the subconscious mind. Most do not yet understand that what triggered them did not come from anyone or anything external to them. Therefore, triggers are not, nor will ever be, caused by anything in the outer world. In truth, when you are triggered and levy a judgment against another person, you are actually reacting to what lives deep within your mind. For what you see externally is but a reflection of what lies within you. And because the ego is the self made from the belief in separation, you can but see separation all around you. What else could you see? However, you couldn't believe in separation, much less see it and experience it, if your mind didn't harbor guilt. And it is this guilt which creates the judgments made by the mind. For how could you see another as guilty unless you already knew and experienced guilt yourself? But more importantly, where does the guilt reside? It resides in the past. Therefore, whenever you are triggered in the present moment and judge another guilty for any reason, you are projecting and perceiving your own past guilt. Thus, the ego always keeps the guilt of the past in the forefront of your mind. You have simply been unaware of the ego's games. For the ego uses triggers and the resulting judgments so that it can maintain the illusion of separation. Yet the ego manipulates your need to be right in order to keep your mind focused on the external and away from the internal, where healing must take place. Since Christ consciousness can only be achieved by removing the guilt held within your mind, the ego has you on constant alert, always watching for the next perceived attack that would make you a victim. Therefore, your triggers are a part of your defensive network and are activated once a threat has been perceived and assessed. And once triggered, you react in order to demonstrate your rightness. The drive to be right supersedes all other internal drives. For most would rather be right than happy. In truth, most sacrifice their joy and their peace so that they can prove themselves right. Yet, is being right worth your peace? Is it really worth your joy? For these are the price demanded, and they are the price you must pay for reacting to prove yourself right. However, there is a darkness found lurking in the need to show others that you are right. What then is this darkness? It is but pride. Yes, pride is a darkness that clouds the mind, keeping it firmly entrenched within the thought system of separation. And as the old saying goes, pride goeth before a fall. But why is pride so destructive to your mental and emotional well-being? The answer lies in what the energy pattern of pride sustains. For pride maintains the illusion of egoic grandiosity, which is nothing more than a shabby replacement for the grandeur that comes from the recognition that you are a beloved child of God. True grandeur is only experienced when one has aligned himself with Christ consciousness. Where the ego boasts of all that it has accomplished, believing it did so on its own, one who lives in and from Christ consciousness knows that of himself he does nothing. Instead, he recognizes that all things are done through him by the source of all that is. Those who live in accordance with the thought system of separation can but live pridefully. Yet those who live in Christ consciousness live in true humility, for they are grateful to be of service to others and to the kingdom. They do not judge others for any reason. Rather, they see every experience as one to help heal the minds and hearts of all those their lives touch. As such, every experience is seen as the perfect opportunity to share God's love and His peace. Therefore, the next time someone or something triggers you, make the conscious choice to recognize the judgments you have already made. Become willing to release them so that peace can return to your mind. And as peace settles throughout your being, know that you have actively chosen to align yourself with Christ consciousness. If for some reason you are finding this step difficult, you might find it helpful to silently repeat these truth statements to yourself. The truth statements are: I recognize the judgments I have made as a result of having been triggered. I am prepared to release these judgments so that peace may return to my mind. I consciously choose to live in Christ consciousness. In Christ consciousness, I cannot ever be a victim, for I am the creator of all I see and experience. Therefore, nothing is done to me. It is but done by me. Thank you for listening, and have a blessed day.